So I've had a little time since the live letter kind of wrapped up to just really kind of think about everything that we learned in today's, kind of presentation from Yoshi P. It was an epic 5 hours. I had so much fun hanging out with Chris and covering it for you guys. And I just wanted to sit down and kind of just give you my raw thoughts from what we all learned today. And if you guys haven't seen the job action trailers out, they went through some of the adjustments that they're making, and they announced that the media tour is officially kicked off first in Japan. But to let you guys know, if you're curious, no, I'm not going to be going to the media tour this year. And honestly, that actually gave me a lot of relief, because coordinating travel, especially with the kids, it ends up just being an extra level thing with a lot of work attached to it. So I'm going to be enjoying the news whenever the embargo breaks, with the rest of you guys, and consuming the content that way. There's some real, I think, exciting announcements that they made. Now, when they went through all the job overview, I'm sure some other content creators have got that summary for you. I'm just going to give you guys what I got out of this. And the lead here, the highest story, the most exciting thing that I saw them announce is the ability to automatically replace actions on your hotbar. Now, for those of you who are worried, one of the feedbacks that I've had for a long time is that seeing that the game continues to shift, vertically with the level cap, and then they're taking skills from the lower level and moving them in a reconditioned way into the higher levels, meaning that the lower levels felt very slow and very, I guess, what's the right word? Mundane. That's the word that I was looking for, and it has finally been discovered in my brain. On this case, though, the fact is they're going to give players the option, if they want to say, like, this skill will automatically be replaced with this other skill. This is great. This is going to be so nice. This is something that I've wanted in the game for a very long time, especially with as additional skills get added. What this does is it solves that problem. They can start to add in a ton more skills if they desire to, and they're not going to have to worry necessarily about hotbar bloat, especially for controller players. So what's going to be the real test of this feature is, does it dramatically increase your DPS one way or the other? Now, we've seen it with macros, and one of the reasons why we don't advise doing macros for your different attacks is because you're not taking full advantage of the skill system and the queuing system that exists. So you're losing out on potential damage because you're having unnecessary wait time where that didn't need to exist. And that all being said, is this will actually replace that utilizing the queue system, but then swapping out the skill on your hotbar. It's not going to be for every skill, and so this is going to be interesting to see how it goes from job to job. But this does confirm to me, like, I'm really excited about putting the controller guides together for you once this is said and done. So I'm excited about that. Be looking forward to that, those videos some point in the future. I haven't decided if I'm going to run them here or if I'm just going to keep them over at Ginger Prime. Ultimately, time will tell. But being that I'm not covering this game in any kind of full-time capacity, we'll have to wait and see. So I haven't made that decision. That will be coming. Now, I thought I'd take a little bit of time today to give you guys a health status progress update, if you guys aren't aware, because everybody kind of dips in and out of the Final Fantasy 14 community at their own pace. I have, I took a break from the game, stepped away, focusing on my family and my health. So far, down 70 pounds. I've hit a massive plateau. I've been the same weight for the last month, and that's to be expected. So it's not like self-defeating. I've still lost a bunch of weight up to this point. But the good news on that is that, once I get to my goal of below 210 pounds, that would roughly be another 40 pounds from where I'm at right now. And that is when I can continue to progress the story. Now, I will be pre-ordering the game. I will be playing as a part of early access. I just won't be doing anything story-based. I'll be playing the new Pictomancer and Viper classes, trying to get them to level cap and thus be able to kind of put together some controller guides for players who are hungry for those new jobs to be able to play on controller with the new system. Then I'll have to evaluate if I want to take all the level 90 jobs and restructure them with that new feature. Ultimately, I guess I'll do that as a case-by-case basis. But once I'm below 210 pounds, then the story will be able to be continued and my adventures in the world will resume. And I'm very excited for when that happens, because not only do I feel incredible now having lost this much weight, but also it's going to feel even better losing the additional weight and being at the correct BMI, and that's just going to pay out to me in the long run. But that I think is the key takeaway. We've seen a couple of job adjustments. It's interesting. I think this is where things will be interesting to see in the long run. With Summoner, they basically said they're toying around with the idea. It's not happening in 7.0, but in 8.0, that Summoner might lose their ability to revive people. And that's a huge change. That also could imply that there will be further separating or fully separating from the Scholar, which would be really exciting to see. I would love to see a little bit more separation there. Now, ultimately, I would have actually really liked where one class could turn into multiple jobs, and that ends up kind of having, you know, like a different kind of thing, but they went with the role system. So we are where we are. They're not going to go backwards. So at this point, Summoner Scholar, I think, would benefit from having that full on, you know, cut in its entirety. Hear my dog barking. We'll wrap up this video in this case. But beyond that, this would then tell me that we could see Pictomancer and Red Mage being kind of that utility, rezzing and, you know, opportunity for the casters out there, and Black Mage and Summoner being the DPS versions. I also really enjoyed what I saw from the changes with Astrologian. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out, and I can't wait to go hands-on with that class. White Mage looks like a freaking dream. Scholar, I always really enjoy playing Scholar. It's a lot of fun. I'm really interested to see how I feel about Sage with the changes in the controller. I'm really excited about playing the casters. Cannot wait to go hands-on with the tanks. I'm very curious to see how that's going to feel in the long run, and it's going to be neat to see how the community kind of responds to all the various different adjustments in the long run. All in all, this was an incredibly fun live letter. It was incredibly long because they did it in English and in Japanese, so there was so much to go through. I'm not so into the Viper. I'm not going to pretend like all of a sudden I like melee classes, but Pictomancer looks really cool. I'm really excited to see how it feels in a controller and playing it in the real world. And so yeah, that's where we're at, guys. Hopefully you got something you know, awesome out of today's events. I wouldn't be worried about anything in terms of like, if you know, if you feel like they ruin anything, that's just going to be natural as a part of any kind of curve in acceptance, right? But that's it, guys. That's all I wanted to sit down and share with you guys today. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video that I make here, but until then,